In 2017, an Australian software company called PageUp suffered a data breach that exposed the personal information of millions of job seekers. The breach was caused by a vulnerability in PageUp HR software, which allowed hackers to execute a server-side template injection attack. The SSTI vulnerability was present in the company's web application framework, which allowed users to enter data into web forms. Hackers exploited this vulnerability by injecting malicious code into the web forms, which allowed them to gain access to the company's database. Hence, it's important to be aware of SSTI vulnerabilities, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. SSTI vulnerabilities arise in server-side templates. What are server-side templates? Templates are files that define how a web application will display its content to users. They contain placeholders that are filled with data from the application. Have a look at this template. This template defines a basic HTML page with a title and a heading, as well as lists of items that are generated dynamically using a for loop. Placeholders in this template are indicated by double curly braces and contain variables like title and heading, or expressions like the loop over items. So templates are a fundamental part of many web frameworks and can be used to render HTML pages, email messages, and other types of contents. Server-side templates can be written in many languages, for example, PHP, Python, Ruby, or JavaScript. So, how SSTI vulnerability arise? Server-side template injection occurs when an attacker is able to inject code into server-side template, which is then executed by the server. This can occur when an application uses user input to construct a template without properly validating or sanitizing the input. So that user input is being inserted in the variable of the template, and then that is being executed by the server in the backend. Okay, let's see an example. Consider an application that uses a templating engine to render user profiles. Templating engine uses a template file that contains placeholders for the usernames and profile picture. The application prompts the user to enter their name, which is then inserted into the template using string concatenation. However, if the user enters a name that contains template code, such as this, 2 + 2, the code will be executed by the server and the result will be included in the rendered page. For example, have a look at this vulnerable code. This code is using the Flask web framework and the Jinja 2 templating engine. This code defines a simple Flask application with a single endpoint that accepts a template parameter. If the parameter is present, the application uses the render-template-string function to render the template on the server and return the result to the client. However, because the template parameter is not validated and sanitized, an attacker can use it to inject malicious code into the server-side templates. For example, an attacker could send a request like this. So this template variable is having an expression instead of a normal user input. Through this, we can confirm that the application is vulnerable to SSTI. Now from here on, you can use different payloads to execute arbitrary commands on the server side. There are a number of commands available for different type of templating engine used by the backend. You can explore them out on the internet. I'll give the link in the description. Now let's have a look at practical demonstration. I'm going to use a lab from Potsugar for this. So this is an e-commerce site which consists of some products, and you can click on view details to get more information about a particular product. But if a product is out of stock, you will get a message on the screen that is, unfortunately, this product is out of stock. Now let's see what's happening behind the scenes. I'm going to turn on my proxy and capture the request in Burp Suite. I'm going to forward this request, and here we can see a request with the message parameter, and it consists the same text we saw on the web page. I'm going to forward this too and turn off my intercept. From here, I'll send the request to the repeater. Probably this message parameter is vulnerable to SSTI. To check for it, we can try some commands. In this lab, we were given a hint that we can review the ERB documentation to find out how to execute arbitrary codes. So I'm going to search up ERB documentation on Google real quick. So it's working on Ruby. And here we can see the syntax. So I'm going to copy this and paste it over here in the message parameter. And I'm going to replace x with 7 into 7. 7 times 7 is 49. So if it is vulnerable to SSTI, we should be able to see result 49 in the response. So I'm going to type 49 in search. And here we can see, means it is indeed vulnerable. Now, to solve this lab, we need to delete morale.txt file from the Carlos account. To do that, we need to execute a system command. For that, we can type rm home carlos and then morale.txt. URL encoded. And then send this request. Go back to the web page and there we can see that we have solved the lab successfully. Means that file was successfully deleted. So we were able to execute commands remotely. And this is very dangerous. So how we can avoid this situation? You can use a safe templating engine that automatically escapes user input and provide a safe way to include dynamic content in templates. Some of the safe templating engines include Jinja 2 and Mustache. Second thing you can do is validate and sanitize user input. This includes checking data type, length, and format, as well as removing any potential malicious characters. Avoid using eval or exec. Do not use these functions to execute code on the server. These functions can be used by attackers to execute arbitrary code and should be avoided whenever possible. You can also use content security policies to restrict the types of content that can be loaded by the application. This can help prevent accesses and other types of attacks as well. And of course, always keep your software up to date. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Like and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.